Hello and welcome to the Black Mind Podcast. My name is Jeff Rock here for you. This amazing show full of life and happiness and joy and other things.
I suspect this is going to be a bit of a short episode because it seemed like we're all kind of dead.
Sorta. We're in the point of our lives where, like, I don't want to do anything interesting. I just want to stay in a hole and do nothing.
I'm not at that point. I'm just at that point in the day. And I think Jeff is, and I think you are.
Yeah.
Today's been a long day for some of us.
To explain it very simply, today I walked into school, I did my thing, I finished it, walked out, and basically my friends were like, "Your eyes are red." And I was just like, "Yeah, I'm not." And they're like, "You don't seem okay." And I'm like, "No, I wasn't."
Yep.
Not okay. So I went and saw Alita, and I postponed the show because
all of like 10 minutes. 20 minutes.
10-ish minutes, 20-ish minutes.
An hour, and then I went and drove it. And
so how is Battle Angel? I've heard okay things.
We discussed it last week. We discussed it oh no, you weren't here for that podcast.
Yeah. Do you want to know my honest opinion, or do you want my terrible opinion that I'm going to say?
Let's go with honest opinion. I want to hear your honest opinion.
Okay. That movie is really good. The worst part about it was the Captain Marvel trailer before it.
Yep. I think my favorite thing about that movie is actually an interview with the actress who played Alita.
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking about it's like, well, as growing up, I always loved superheroes. Like I love the action heroes and stuff like that. The guys being the heroes and stuff like that because I didn't care they were guys. I wanted to be like them. And now that I've been an action hero for a bunch of people, maybe I'll be that for some boys too. And I'm like, that's the message you want to send out.
It's not even like that. It's like that movie has a lot of style in it.
Oh, yeah.
And you can tell that they put in a lot of effort into a lot of the things that they do. Mm-hmm. So, there are moments in that movie where it's like every little detail is very well done. Every little detail is very, meticulously designed to be a specific way. The other thing that they do very well is they use cinematography to their biggest.
They use the camera work is just.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie to look at. There are things about it that I wish they would have done differently.
I think my only big problem with the movie was I saw it at fucking near midnight. At 10. The movie started at 10:30. I didn't get home till fucking 1:30 in the morning, and I was like, ugh. I feel like that movie was 2 hours long, roughly? Yeah, about 2 hours long. It was solid. It was fun. It was well paced. I think the only problem with the movie for me was the fact that the 3D, that stupid gimmick that everybody keeps getting forced into, kind of pulled it away from it. Because man. I love my movies. I don't need to see them in 3D all the time.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am sure.
There are things that I will disagree with you on. And one of those things is I think the pacing was once that movie hits a certain point, the pacing is fine. It does a very good job of once it hits that point, you're like, oh, action sequence, break point, action sequence, break point. But the moment to that point, it just goes.
Yeah.
It just goes.
Here's the thing with the pacing for me. The pacing is fine because the opening is supposed to be slow. That is because even in the opening, it starts off really slow.
Yeah.
But over the course of the first 20 minutes, it slowly picks up, slowly picks up, and then the point where it goes and it just goes from is the second fight.
Yeah.
Because that's where it just hits overdrive and it just starts tumbling over itself in speed.
It comes far more convenient for that movie in order to just go balls to the wall as fast as it can. And there are things that, like, okay, like, I'm not going to sit there and spoil the ending or anything like that. There are moments in that movie that are just fucked up.
Yeah.
There are moments in that movie where they're like, they did a RoboCop thing. I love RoboCop. RoboCop is so great.
I think my favorite scene in that movie is like when they're like explaining like the derby and stuff like that, and I'm like, that is just really well done. It's just how to have fun with characters.
Yeah.
That was the entire scene.
Oh yeah. She did.
Sorry.
She did, and they do a very good job about like 90% of the work and stuff like that. And the one.
Go. Okay. I'm just thinking something other.
I didn't think that I would like her eyes as much as I thought the face was like very annoying at first, and then like, yeah, you and Rory were completely right. Like, yeah, she does not look like a fuck doll.
No, the moment you like, again, like, that's the thing about her is like the moment after you're like you get past that like her eyes are on an uncanny valley for the first 30 minutes. No, actually, no, I wouldn't even say that. The first 5 minutes that you like that, like you see her constantly on screen for the first 5 minutes consistently, and you adjust to them like fucking after the 5 minutes, you're like, wow, that doesn't look wrong at all. Ugh.
Yeah, and like one of the big things I would sit here and say is I would say that like if that's the thing that like we're going to sit there and say, oh, that's the worst part of this game, that's not the worst thing ever. The other thing I would sit there and say is that it needs to do more of like it needs a sequel. That movie deserves a sequel.
That movie doesn't just deserve a sequel, it deserves to have the whole comic series fucking
done.
Oh, yeah, because remember, it's actually like a full-on manga.
It's like 4 mangas. Like it's like there are 4 versions of that manga.
Maybe? Is it really?
Yeah.
Huh, I never knew that.
It's like because like the original manga basically like the way that it ends is basically there's a point where you just murder everything.
Yeah.
And then but one of the big things that they forgot to do with it is that because of what it is and what everything about that movie is, it just after a certain point it just makes more sense for them to just not do that series, because there's basically 2 subplots to the comic book series where she's victorious and then Zion falls, which, spoiler alert, that is like one of the big plot points is that this floating city, or they do the other thing where it's much more about like Zion doesn't fall and then it's like takes place months after that, if I recall correctly. There was a really good video about this and I really enjoyed part of it, and I think that you might like it too.
Link it to me after the podcast and I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. The other thing I will say is that there's one like somebody like Josh would really like this movie because of what they do. And they do it well.
Josh would love this movie. And I really do think I do think you should go see it, Josh, because it's.
I think I should probably see this.
I'm probably seeing a.
Because ever since the first trailer reveal, and people are going, "What the fuck is with her eyes?" and I'm like, "Yeah, what the fuck is with her eyes?" And I was like, "Eh." Of course, I'm always the person who goes, "Eh," at movies, unless they're like fucking stellar movies. Then I'll be like, "Okay, I should go see this fucking stellar movie."
Yeah. I already know. Yeah. I already actually know for a fact that I'm not seeing. What's it called? I already know I'm not seeing fucking Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, whatever the fucking the name is. Mm-hmm. I know for a fact that I'm not seeing that because it's just. Even when the initial trailer got dropped about her, I looked at it and said I'm not interested. And then I started seeing more trailers, and I was just like, it looks boring. Like her uniform in character and stuff like that. When she's not wearing that fucking retarded helmet, and that helmet is straight up fucking retarded. Don't let anybody ever tell you otherwise. That helmet is fucking stupid looking.
Hold on, let's describe how stupid that is. They basically
you mean the mohawk?
Yeah, it's a mohawk.
Yeah, it's a mohawk helmet.
Isn't that like the original suit?
No.
Is it not?
That is part of her original suit.
Was it? I thought it wasn't.
It was.
Because I was going to say, I thought that was like a callback to like a freaking original suit. That's why it looked so goddamn dumb.
It is. But like, here's what I'm going to say, is that I've never seen a movie that I've been more like willing to watch fail and point at and laugh in my life. Because like, I don't, like, unless they magically pull a rabbit out of their hat and shove it up somewhere it doesn't belong, like, I'm sorry, Alita's a better movie.
Yeah.
It just looks better. And it's not even like, oh, it looks terrible. It's not like, oh, it's a better movie. It's just like, no, this is objectively better because of one of the big major things that they do is they sat there and they go, you're like, they're going to do the thing, and I really hope that they don't do the thing, and then they don't do the thing. Like they're like, oh, they're not going to kill the dog, Alita's going to get in the way, and then like something glorious is going to happen. Oh, they killed the dog.
Yeah, not only do they kill the dog, they kill the dog in like an off-screen way, and like there's a dog-loving bounty hunter in the room there, and he just like, you know, the moment that happened, that bounty hunter was like, he fucked up.
Oh, yeah, and then they like do like little things, like little smart things, like they show the pool of blood. They do very smart things. Like that movie is a very well-designed movie. Captain Marvel is based off of the Marvel Cinematic Universe formula that has been around for 10 years. Countless
15.
movies. 15 years. Is it 15 years now?
I think it's 15. When did Iron Man come out?
2008.
Yeah, about 50. No, was it 2008? I'm looking for the original release. Yeah, it's a 2008 film. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's been out for 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Christ.
So, I'm going to say this about Captain Marvel. Not that Brie Larson isn't hot. Not that Brie Larson isn't capable of being a good actor. Not that Brie Larson is a terrible human being or anything like that. It's just that I don't like her character, and plus, she shouldn't be called Captain Marvel in the first place, because originally Shazam was called Captain Marvel. And Shazam, who is a fucking, by all extents of the imagination, a superhero equivalent of Superman.
Well, okay, so here's the thing about Shazam and all that stuff. He was originally called Captain Marvel because Marvel owned him. He was supposed to be the hard counter to Superman and like the playoff equivalent. But the problem was is DC was like, no, it's too much like RIP. A name change doesn't justify it, and they tried to argue on the grounds of like, this is an intellectual property of Marvel and stuff like that. They went back and forth, and eventually Marvel just conceded them and said, "Are we allowed? Can we keep the name Captain Marvel? We'll do something else. We promise." And then they gave it to I do believe Captain Marvel from straight off the bat was always like that.
Okay, so apparently DC acquired the license of the Marvel family characters from Fawcett and returned into the publication. By 1991, it had acquired all of the rights to the characters. DC has since integrated the Captain Marvel, and the Marvel family. So it wasn't even owned by Marvel. So what ended up happening was basically DC lost the trademark.
Yep.
And then Marvel basically took it and then ran with it, and then yeah. And they keep doing stuff with it. So it's like, okay, I guess that's fine. I guess it's okay.
But I mean, even slightly more confusing is that Captain Marvel, but I mean Shazam is actually going to be the superhero name for Captain Marvel. I mean Shazam, which is, I'm not sure if that's more or less confusing. Maybe less, because it's just, solidifying like Shazam is Shazam.
Shazam is Shazam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, technically Shazam is Captain Marvel, and but he in DC they go by Shazam, so they don't get trademarked IP'd. Just like how they don't have with Marvel, they have a female captain, but it's not actually like it's weird. But and here's the thing, I've loved Shazam in a lot of his iterations because he's a fun character. Because unless it's the 7-kid fucking version, fuck that shit. But the thing is like Shazam is a little kid who gains the godly powers of the universe because they're like, hey, we need a hero, Shazam, and I love it, but I love his design. I love his look. I love how he's fucking just like a little kid in a grown-up's body who's just like trying to be the best man he can be. But then you like look at and like the comics versions of Captain Marvel, like Captain Marvel or Connor Danvers or whichever one you want to go with. She's still a fun character, and like the fan base loves her. Like, this is the reason why they're like so worried about this comic, because this movie. It's just like it's not that we don't love. It's not that we don't care that she's a woman. Who the fuck cares? We love her because her stories are good, and coming out with you guys strong emphasis on just like the fact that she's a woman, she's taking the lead and stuff like that. We've had a strong woman in the we had another strong woman character who probably would have been better for a movie than her, which would have been Black Widow. And even then, I say Black Widow would not make a very good movie protagonist, because
she would use her sex as a weapon.
Yeah.
I actually, like, she's a good supporting character. She's not a good lead character, is the way I would put it. Is because she's like a really good character to bounce off, but like she doesn't bounce off other characters very well, other than Bruce Banner, and even then, that's not happening in a Black Widow movie.
I would say, this is my personal opinion. You're gonna love these. You're gonna love this opinion. It says something when you have a movie that's coming out and you're like, this is stupid. This is really, really stupid. I don't like this at all. And then you have somebody like Shazam and Captain Marvel, and it's like, oh, it's magic, but it's really crazy, and people should love it, and you're gonna like it. And it's like, oh, like this is an interesting concept where basically a kid is now in a Superman's body. So what is going to happen? Well, of course you can expect hijinks. Of course they're gonna buy beer. It makes sense and stuff like that, and it's just amazing to me, because it's like, man, like everyone's going, well, like, Captain Marvel's a lot better. And it's like, no, like Alita is a feminist empowerment movie to a T. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm pretty sure I'm wrong when I say that, but it's like, she takes control, far more control of any situation than any character in that movie. even the main doctor, I think his name is Edo's. He like completely is very important in terms of the story, but he's also like a father figure, and he doesn't want to see her get hurt. So, and like he sits there and he basically says like, don't go outside, don't do this, don't sign up to be this important character.
But the thing is, he's a believable father figure, and on top of that, he doesn't like he acts believably because like he treats her like a daughter, and it's like, why would I want to see her hurt? So like I'm gonna do everything in my power to protect her. And when she does start like growing, like getting stronger and becoming better than he, and like he gets badly hurt at one point in the movie, and it's like, no, she steps up. So she had to. It's a growing up story, and it's really fucking well done.
Yeah, I just found a podcast image for this week, and people are going to disagree with me for it, but I found the podcast image for this week, and yeah.
I need to read that out loud. Don't just teach your children to read. Teach them to question what they read. Teach them to question everything. George Carlin. Yes. Yep. No, I agree with that. Well, for the most part, there are some things that I'm gonna say. It's okay. There are things you shouldn't question, such as like, for the most part. Is that light red? Yeah. No, I don't think it's red. I think it's green, and I'm going to proceed through this intersection. Don't question that. Stop that. No.
Don't do that. That's bad.
But like, I mean, like, yeah. And that's the thing is, it depends upon what's going on, and like for the most part, the way I look at the situation with like, questioning everything you see, the way you should be questioning it is in a critical sense. That's what you should be teaching them. Teach them to be critical, but not to blindly question.
Have you ever done the thing where, and I don't know where you ask the question of what place has more rape? Okay, I just lost like 5 jobs and stuff like that with that one sentence, but does more rape occur? In the North Pole or near the equator? A lot of people say the equator. I personally think it's the North Pole.
God damn it, Jeff. You're so bad.
But let me explain this, okay? Because the way the joke goes is like George Carlin basically says like there's a lot of fucking going on near the equator because guys can see their tits, they get horny, and there's a lot of fucking going on. That's exactly why there's a lot less rape going on, because there's a lot of fucking going on. How many Eskimos do we have? Like 40, 35? It's like, yeah, okay, yeah. George, yeah. I love you. George, if you were around today, you would be the person I would want. I love George Carlin. He's the only sane person.
Isn't he? I thought he was still alive.
He's dead.
Nope, he's totally dead.
Oh. Yeah. In other news, I just saw a very sad...
Oh yeah, he died a long time. Wow. Wow. I'm fucking retarded.
I was not going to say that.
To quote Alex Jones, I'm a little bit retarded. fucking Christ! That oh my God! So okay, I didn't get to watch the live cast of that because I wanted to, but I was busy at school when that happened.
Most of us were.
I was sitting in my class and I saw on my Twitter feed this video pop up. My phone's on silent, so I can't hear it. But I'm like sitting there, and all I just see is Alex Jones say something, and then it cuts immediately to Dave Rubin, and he falls off his chair just doing something. And I'm like, okay. So I plug my headphones in. I'm in the middle of my sociology class. It's the last class today. I had 10 minutes left on the clock, and like I should have been like, no, I'll wait 10 minutes. I will hold off on viewing this video. Mm-hmm. And then I played the video with volume on, in my ear with my earphone headphones on, and all I heard was the line, "I'm a little bit retarded," and I almost broke out crying in laughter because holy shit, dude!
There's a really good.
You want to know my 2 cents on that frickin' interview that was shared in, I want to say, Shane's chat room?
I'm pretty sure it's mine.
Or yours. No, actually it was yours. So there's some videos that was shared in, like, was it Dank Memes or...
General.
Okay.
It is. Let's read the title.
So the title is Nazis Made a Deal with Aliens. So I was like, huh. Oh, and also I was like, oh yeah, I saw that pop up on YouTube, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch it now because I personally don't like cringe shit.
It's so fucking worth it.
But at the same time, I'm like, I'm very curious. And curiosity kills the cat, so I'm like, maybe not today. But I was like, let me watch this one video, because I'm like, Nazis made a deal with aliens. So I'm like, let me try to get through a minute of this probably 10-minute video. I got to about 1 minute in, and I was like, let me start skipping. Because I am not going to sit through all this shit. And then as I'm skipping through it, I made a comment afterwards, which basically sums up my entire thought process of this was, I just clicked 3 random places in the video, and all I hear is World War II is where all this happened. Then aliens are brain suckers, and look it up. It's on the internet. I'm like, fuck. This is like, if I were to sat through the whole podcast, I'm sure my face would have cringed so hard. My face wouldn't uncringe. It'd just permanently bitch face. I just couldn't undo it. This would be the new resting face for my face. Like, God.
Resting bitch face.
Yeah, resting cringe face. Or that could be a title of a podcast. Resting cringe face. But yeah, like, my experience of, like, let's start going through this. Oh no.
Everything about that video I love.
Oh God, it's just, he's so insane.
Oh no.
He's so insane.
That's why I love it.
Alex Jones?
It's either he's so insane
or
that he's actually insane, or he's so insane that he's actually very smart and he's playing off he's very insane.
Oh, okay. So here's the thing about Alex Jones. The way a lot of people thought he was initially was he had a character. Like, he played this, like, guy who believed in conspiracies, and then he brought up, like, and then on the Joe Rogan show this week we were like, no, he believes all of these conspiracies. So we're like, okay, no, start taking him with a grain of salt. Start taking him with a great grain of salt. But he, although I think my favorite quote from him is, "I don't believe in the flat Earth theory." I was like, good man, Alex Jones.
Holy shit, that's the only redeeming factor of him, I guess. Like, wow.
No, that's the thing, is he's incredibly entertaining to watch, and he's really fun to, like, listen to at times. Well, for the most part. My only problem, and he, like, that's the thing about him, he's fun. You can't look away from him when he just starts going. You're like, what the fuck am I watching?
He's such a perfect clown.
Yeah. Well, it's not even that. It's like you're watching this, you're like, oh, like, this can't be possible and stuff like that. And you're like, there's no way this is possible. And then you get to the point where it's like, he makes sense, and you're like, this is scary. Like, this is, well,
it's because he rambles a lot.
He sells it so well.
Yeah.
The other thing that's fucking hilarious, and this is something that's going to, like, be like, everyone's going to go like, oh, well, like, of course he would say that. It's like, there have been points where Alex Jones has been right.
And it was surprisingly frequent for a while. It was like, the frogs are gay, and there was like, ah, ha, 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 yeah. And then they turned out to be gay, and everybody was like,
They weren't just gay, they were biological females.
I mean, I was gonna say, don't they, like, they reproduce, but they're, like, asexual or some shit, because reptiles.
Yeah, but, like, you still need a male and female.
True, but, like, at the same time, it's like, sometimes they can flip, sometimes they don't.
But, like, what I mean,
it's weird.
But what I mean is, like, if I cut you, like, Josh, if I cut a frog leg, it's not going to all of a sudden produce a new frog.
True.
Right. So but like if I like take a frog and I do this, if I take a frog and like cut it in half, it's not going to produce a new frog either.
True.
Right. That's the thing here. Is like they produce asexually up to a certain point. You can't get a new frog just by cutting them in half.
Earthworms keep doing it, although they're fucking weird.
Earthworms have like 8 hearts. A frog only has 1.
True.
So your point is very important, but it's also
Yeah. Point is also like, yeah, yeah, the water's wet, so what? That's pretty.
yeah. It's
just Alex Jones is the greatest car wreck ever.
He's incredibly fun to watch. That's the point of him. Like, as long as you take him as just entertainment and not as like, as like something you should like follow for advice and stuff like that, then you're fine. And that's how I've always looked at Alex Jones. Alex Jones is a character, is somebody you watch to get entertained, but you don't watch him for information.
No, you want to know who you watch for information?
Who?
You watch Philip DeFranco, other individuals. They usually do a very good job of doing that.
Oh, yes, this news show that he does.
Yes. Tim Pool.
What's Philip DeFranco doing?
He does a news show.
Like,
does he now?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, for the longest time.
He's done.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He also, Tim Pool's also very good on YouTube as well. But Tim Pool's like, here's the thing with Tim Pool, and this is like my personal opinion and stuff like that, is it feels like he goes more into the culture war. And as somebody who has recently decided that the culture war is stupid and there's no victors in either side, the only victors are losers and people like me who like to mock both sides equally. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like that's my big issue with Tim Pool. But to sit here and say something very important about that is like, if that is like what our standard of journalism is like talking about the culture war, then that's fine. The problem becomes like it's way too consuming and it's this all-consuming thing.
Oh yeah, no, like that's the point. Like, okay, this is how you need it. This is how people should approach the culture war.
Yeah.
And that is, don't let it consume you. Fight it when you have to. Don't engage when you don't have to.
Yeah.
Have your life. Don't get it. Don't like. I'm in class, and we are talking about gender and sexuality and oppression in class in sociology today.
Yeah.
And the teacher did something that I nearly like had my near gut reaction to, like, fight the culture war moment. But I stopped myself. I'm like, no, hear him out. Let's hear what he says. And we discussed things, and he's like, oh well, everything's not 100% binary. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's been a thing for a long time. We've known this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm listening to like him discuss stuff, and he brings up the wage gap, and I'm like, I could say it's not a wage gap, it's an earnings gap, but that's beside. I don't want to bring that up, so I just kept my mouth shut. And he brought up, it's like, okay, so there's 3 reasons why the wage gap appears, and I'm like, okay, here it comes. It's because women get paid. You know what? I was thinking, I'm gonna hear it's because women are. It's because people assume that women aren't going to be more confrontational and stuff like this. Da 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 da. And then he responds like, "Women do different work than men." I was like, "Oh my god, yes, good man." And then he's like, "Women also work. The fields that women work also are paying less because there's more people in them."
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god. And the last one was like, and there's sexism. I'm like, that's suspect, because you can't prove nor you can disprove that. So that's the falsibility of that is incredibly hard to prove.
There are certain things that are very sexist that women have to deal with every day.
Yep.
But if that,
but that's what I mean. It's like, is the way my teacher handled it, I was not ready for, and I was so happy to be like just immediately like, nope, I was wrong.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like it was stuff like that where it's like, because like that's the thing is like people don't understand is like the best way to win the war and stuff like that is to pick your fight. Okay.
Yep.
It's not, and like as long as you don't let it consume you. And like I'm not the perfect example of that. I'd like to think I recently improved about that a little bit more. I'm trying to not let it get in my head as much as I want it to. But like this is the reason why the show is so good for me personally, is because
it lets you rent.
I can vent about this stuff, and I can be pissed off, and I can be as angry as I want to be. And then I finish and I play Destiny 2 and stuff like that with people who might not agree with me.
Yep.
And is that wrong? No, not really. Is it wrong for somebody else to have a different opinion than me? No, not really.
No.
I think the big thing is like when you end up getting in these situations where you end up doing something stupid, arguably stupid, that could potentially hurt you in the future. And then you end up doing it because you don't care and because you think it's the best thing and you're following this trend and it feels like it's the best thing in the world and oh, my life improves. And then in 5 years you have nobody around you.
Yeah. Surprise.
Or in 3 years you have nobody around you. Like I was very shocked when, I'm going to say this, I was very shocked when you came on the show the second time. And you were just like, I want to talk about these things, and you just had a completely different tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like, I actually got shown by a friend of mine. He was a philosophy major when he went to school.
Yeah.
And me and him had like talks, discussions, and stuff like back and forth. And I didn't 100% agree with him back before I came on the show.
Yeah.
But then I went through a very turbulent time on my end, like to the point where like I got sent home from work that turbulent, and had to see like I had to talk with a psychiatrist or a psychiatric therapist.
Oh, like I'm going to do. This is going to be great. Oh, it's.
Yeah, no, it's no. That's the thing is like even I will admit, because this was this happened my final year of school. Like my final year of school, it happened when I was doing like the year before, like 2 months or 4 months before I started my final year, my final semester of school. I had that happen to me, and it was really hard for me to admit that I needed to talk to someone. And I talked with someone, and it let me get things off my chest. My buddy introduced me to a bunch of like people he's like, yeah, you've been going through a lot of rough times and stuff like that. Maybe you should listen to this. Maybe you should listen to this. And he put me through to like he put me into like showed me like things like Sargon of Akkad, Armored Skeptic. And I started listening, and I'm like, I don't feel like, because even back before like I started talking about this stuff, I'd had these opinions, but I didn't want to say anything that would get me fucking ostracized and fucking pigeonholed.
You weren't like me, who was like, this is the thing that like it hits very close to home for me and stuff like that. And you weren't like me, who was like willing to go toe to toe with your best friend and disagree with him. Because Noah and I don't see eye to eye on gender, but we're still good friends and stuff like that. And we still are, like, we're still best buds and stuff like that. Like, we fight. Josh has seen us fight.
And I'd say, Daddy, stop.
Yeah, pretty much. But like we fight, and then we hug it out later. And like one of the best things I can sit there and honestly fucking say is that like when we fight, we always like understand that it's coming from a different place. and it's coming from a different perspective, and that's not always wrong. It's not always wrong.
No,
it's not, and that's the thing. Is like, if the world was a perfect place, we wouldn't have those problems. But like, it isn't. So yeah. Anyways, can we move on to a different topic, or?
Yeah, sure. I'd be up to move on to another topic.
All right. Different topic.
Josh, do you want to talk about something, or?
Yeah, I'm going to alienate you for exactly 30 minutes and talk about the new set of Magic the Gathering coming out.
Hey.
I'm going to mute my mic and I'm going to phone do something, and I'm just going to mute my mic, okay?
Yep.
Okay, just make sure you're still listening.
You mean like what Josh does to us when we start talking about politics?
I mean, Josh also plays Tetris.
Yeah, and you know what's even funnier is we try to get Josh involved. We really do. Josh has no interest in the shit that we talk about half the time.
This is how you get Josh interested. You either attack something he really likes, and then Josh gets political for like 20 minutes, and it's fucking hilarious because it's
exactly
it's like oh my god, they awoken the beast. Holy shit. It's like you literally just like you pull out this triple barrel shotgun, and I don't know where the fuck you get those things, but you pull it out of your ass or something like that, or it comes out of your mouth. Like, you just pull out this barrel aimed at them, and then you just start firing from your mouth, and then you get it out, and you're like, oh,
and then you pump it.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my god, Josh, that was fucking sick.
And yeah, that's exactly it. Unless it's like some stupid topic or some stupid, like, again, a topic of like how you hold your fucking fork, or for love of God, don't sneeze on me, or oh, you're talking about that weird obscure thing I like. Let's talk about that weird obscure thing I like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that.
So this is not necessarily weird or obscure. It's just more of like, oh, I like nerd shit. So one of the nerd shits I'm going to talk about is the new Magic the Gathering set that is just specifically aimed at Modern, which I know this kind of happened before, which with the Modern Master series and stuff like that. But this is completely different, as in this skips standard. There's a whole list of them in this Reddit post of talking about the bullet points that it's the bullet points of what's in the set. Hold on. There we go. So basically the set is called Modern Horizons. It's a 254 card set. We'll have a mix of new cards and reprints. The cards in Modern Horizons will skip standard. It will not be in standard legal, which is standard legal, but it will be modern legal, which is very interesting because in the Modern Master stuff, like, it was kind of a mix between standard stuff, not so standard stuff. Cards got reprinted from like 8th edition and like a whole bunch of weird reprints and stuff like that, and some cards are forgettable that you never use. But with this new Modern Horizon set that are going to mix up with new cards and old cards, and also they're going to choose cards from pre-8th edition series. So that means like they could pull some cards that are not on the vintage list that are like, oh, here's this old weird shitty card that we know it's good for Modern because Modern's going that way, so here you go. And it's like, woo, we got this old shitty card back.
Yep. Wait, they brought back Black Lotus? That's amazing. That's the best part.
No, sadly that's on the reserve list. That's never gonna get reprinted unless hell freezes over.
All right, just remember the bottom the final layer of hell is actually already frozen over. Remember that. Remember that.
Actually, one of the layers of hell is actually like a really good looking meadow with a blood river with people trying to get out.
Yep.
which is I love that one.
Oh man, the layers of hell are nothing but irony stacked on irony stacked on irony.
Oh yeah.
Except for the final layer. The final layer, you're like you don't want to be there. You really really don't.
Is there a Magic Gathering card depicts one of those layers of hell? I'm sure.
No, I don't think they do.
Maybe the one of the like old like the first edition cards or like alpha or beta or something, but I don't think so. Not off the top of my head.
Yeah,
because like if you're gonna do that stuff, it would have been like the first set. Because they're like, we don't know what we're doing. And also further go on to with the modern Horizon set. The pre-release for the Modern Horizons, it's not sealed. It's booster draft, which is interesting. Because usually when they do like a new release of a set, they're like, yeah, pre-release. It's a sealed, so that means everyone gets about 6 packs from a box. You get a dice and maybe some fluff material in there to be like, oh, it's the lore, yay!
Yep.
And yeah, but apparently they're not doing that. They're just going straight to draft. So I'm like, huh, interesting. I guess they just I guess they just want to cut corners as much as they can.
Yeah.
So you don't want to give everyone a dice again.
I don't really blame them for not wanting to give everybody a bunch of dice because, yeah.
Well, the thing is like before the dice were super special and that was nice. Now they're getting shittier and shittier and shittier and shittier. They're to the point of like they're no different than some dice I can go pick out in some card shop somewhere else. So I was like, so why these dice? They're just shitty. Just you have a special little logo on it and that's it. Like I don't think I'm gonna flip $1 over for that stupid thing. I mean, I have tons of them, but God, yeah, if they had more care in those things, they'd be a little more like sought after. But nah, no one cares. But
ain't nobody got time for that.
No one has time for that.
Nobody really does.
Yeah. What else about the info about this modern set? There will be a buy a box promo, which is oh well.
But more often than not, when it comes to buy a box promo, it's always
if anything, I just hope the buy a box promo is not a new card. There'll be a new modern standard that will go up to $150 type of card. I hope it's like a reprint of an older card, which therefore it's like, okay, that's fine. If it's a newer card, then it's like, oh shit, that's going to be a problem. Because they're kind of doing that now. They're like, oh, we're doing buy a box promos now, and it's like, I don't know how I feel about that. Because
my personal big problem with the situation of buy a box promo is actually more related to the idea of them, like, it's almost feeling like it's a cop out in some ways.
Yeah.
Rather than like actually doing something like useful with the way it's done. So like again, it'll depend upon what they do. Like I do know for a fact that during when we went back to Innistrad, the buy box was a Thalia, and it's not that I don't like Thalia. I feel like it could have been a better card though.
Yeah. Like what was it? I know the buy a box for recently, kind of a weird mix of like this was command, like this card was only ever printed in like a con back in 2000 or something.
Yep, I believe that.
Yeah, that one got reprinted like kind of more recently for I think for Core.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another buy a box promo that was this one I'm talking about is for Core set, and it was a kind of new like not Event Horizons, but like a card that can reset the table basically, which is like wipe everything out, get yourself new cards, play a new game basically. And I was like, those cards are always bad. Even though they're like absurdly high in mana costs, they're always bad because it just reset the entire game. So it's like,
yep.
Why? Unless you want to be a douche, unless you're going like high and competitive, then I'm like, high-end competitive, sure. But other than that, you're a fucking world's biggest douche tool ever. And it's like, come on. Let me do something. No? Although I'm the one to talk. I have a Dice Factory deck that that all it does is I get to about 6 mana as fast as I can, and then I immediately play Death Cloud. And Death Cloud is player for 3 black, and for X for how much mana is an X, you can each player gets rid of that much life. Each player gets rid of that much cards in their hand. Each player gets rid of that many creatures on the field, and that each player gets rid of that many lands. It's like, of course, I have to do a lot of work in order to get there, but it's like, oh, you don't have a counter? Oh, you can't save your creatures or your lands? Oh, that's too bad. Oh, you only have a land left. Oh, that sucks. I got all these artifacts, so I'm just keep doing my bullshit here. Yeah, hold on. Maybe I'll win. I don't know.
That's like me playing against a guy who had a blue commander deck, and it was just like, hey boys, I'm gonna see if I can win this turn, and we're just like, okay. The thing was, we normally would stop and just watch what happened. And there was a specific reason why we did this, because if he did, we'd we'd all pick up our decks at the same time, start shuffling them, and go, okay, good game, and we'd start to play towards get ready for the next game. However, there was one point, and I think it was my favorite fucking reaction, is I'm sitting there with I have Thalia on the board, like first Thalia, the one who makes every non-creature spell cost 1 more. So he starts doing this bullshit, and I'm like, every time he casts a spell, I'm like, remember, it costs 1 more. Remember, it costs 1 more. Remember, it costs 1 more. And so he looks at me. He's like, all right, I'm gonna mill you out. That was his response to me saying, there is a. Because he's like, I'm gonna mill you out, and I'm just standing there like, okay. So he pays to mill me out, and I'm just sitting there. I was like, okay. And he's like, how many cards do you have left in the deck? And I'm like, probably maybe like 30. We had got I had been getting milled nonstop at that point, and so he's like, all right. And I and my first card on the stack removed all other effects of that fucking mill, because I flipped Kozilek, and I was like, oh look, my library goes back, my graveyard goes back to my library, and I shuffled. He's like, fuck. And I'm like, oh, and he's like, do you have any mana left? I have 1 left. He's like, so you can't cast any spells. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, Thalia. He's like, fuck. I'm like, so it's my turn next, right? Yeah, it is. I'm like, cool, sweet. I alpha swing you. And all the players were like, oh my god. And I was like, yep.
Dang.
When you get to punish the blue player, it feels good.
It feels good.
It's really hard to punish blue white players, so it's really hard to do that.
Yeah, but freaking there's a guy over at our Monday Modern in our store in my small town. He always has what is it? It's in the card got printed in Dominaria. The Planeswalker that's blue white. I forget his name. Fucking, he's like important to the storyline.
Teferi?
Yeah, Teferi. So the Teferi decks have been popping up all over the place, because turns out Teferi is actually really, really good. Yep. And it turns out Karn that got a new print is okay, but he's like $20 at this point.
Yeah,
which is just like, oh no, Karn, you're so good. You need to take off that pants and be free again. Yeah, but but it's like, yeah, but basically those new white blue decks that uses Teferi, it's like, shit, you're just tying the board up as much as you humanly can. Then you maybe win the game with the ultimate, which is just gets rid of everyone's shit. And it's like, no one wants to play a game at this point. You just want to scoop. But it's like, but they kind of, sometimes they don't even have a win con. They just hope that you just rage quit. So it's like you can go to time and not do anything, but it would suck ass. And it's like, fuck, that deck is stupid. Like, I kind of wish it was banned in some way, but whatever. I mean, it's better than the KTI that was got banned recently, which is, I think it's kind of more of like Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead scenario for that.
It is.
Yeah, because like I went up against that deck twice, and freaking every time that like I went up against that deck is like they were doing the most high-end bullshit that tied up everything. And I was like, well, gotta wait here for 10 whole minutes. Hold on, let me just. Are you done your turn? No. Okay. You done yet? No. Maybe when it gets to my turn, I get to play a card, and I pass it back to him doing dumb bullshit. Fuck. Yeah. So yeah, new. Other than me complaining about Magic the Gathering, the new Modern Masters, I hope it's pretty good. Oh, by the way, for the new Modern Masters Horizons, I have a full-on suspicion that there's a card. One of the cards in that set is going to be Chalice of the Void. And the only reason why I think this is because the artist who has a Kickstarter going on right now is like, here's all the preview of my art, and like I'm gonna make playmats again this time, make more playmats this time, and different art and more recent art and blah blah blah. And it's like, oh, this is a good Kickstarter. I checked out the artwork that he was talking about. One of them is a completely redone artwork of Chalice of the Void, and I'm like, oh, I need that card so badly. And I remembered hearing about the Modern Masters thing, and I'm like, maybe it's in that set. Maybe. Hopefully.
It wasn't.
Christ. Wasn't.
I mean, it's just that, like, that's the thing. It's like, maybe it isn't because he's showing preview artwork. Like, he's showing artwork in his Kickstarter. So I'm like, maybe he's not in the set. Or maybe he forgot the NDA is on this artwork or something, and he's just showing it up there anyways. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Wizards been weird a lot. Has been really pretty weird for the past couple of years. So like, I don't know what's going on with their previews and stuff like that. All I know is I'm excited to see more of my Ravnica set for. Is the next Modern Masters is the next set that's getting printed, I think, and they're staying in Ravnica for the next 2-pack set.
6 more years. 6 more years.
No. They've confirmed that they're staying in Ravnica because this is a storyline that like nobody can leave Ravnica because Nicol Bolas is coming to Ravnica. Period. So they're like no, the fight's gonna be here at Ravnica. Like it's gonna be like this is the culmination of like the fight with Nicol Bolas, as far as I know.
6 more years. 6 more years.
And Josh, how much of the story do you know?
I know that Urza was a big.
No, I mean for Ravnica.
Oh, for Ravnica?
Like
I know there's guilds. I know they fight with each other.
Okay. So
I know that there's shocklands.
You know there's basically nothing. So fun fact. So you know how Nicol Bolas is like the big bad?
Yes.
So in the last set with Boros, Golgari, is it Selesnya and Dimir? Those 5 guys, yeah. They were like the thing that was going on with them is like, okay, you're trying to figure out what's going on. Boros is ramping up its military strength. Selesnya is dealing with like minor problems with like the people. Izzet is apparently doing not just illegal experiments, but Niv Mizzet isn't the guild leader anymore. It's Faden Draken, or what's his name? The other red blue planeswalker that came out during the last set.
Oh,
Golgari now belongs to Vraska, and Demir's doing Demir things, and nobody knows what Demir's doing. So I was intrigued, and I was like, okay, so what's going on? And then this came out, and then I understood everything. Azorius belongs to. We found out a few things. It belongs to Nicobolus. Azorius belongs to Nicobolus. Orzhov belongs to Nicobolus. Simic belongs to Nicobolus. Gruul technically belonged to Nicobolus until Dommy Ray went fucking crazy and said, "Fuck it, I don't want to follow orders." And
so who's not under control of Nicobolus?
Boros, like the good boys. Selesnya, like the good boys. Rakdos, what the fuck?
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
Rakdos is not under Bolus's fucking control, which is amazing.
So
Golgari's not under his control, and Demir's maybe not under his control. We're not sure. But like, I'm following this story. I'm like, holy shit! And then I found out what happened to like certain characters. The girl, like Azorius's old like major, like the grand judge, Asperia. She got petrified and put it and thrown into a pit. She's dead. The Orzhov Council no longer exists. Straight up, they straight up got murdered. Niv Mizzet is benched. And Simic, a planeswalker, came in and fucking took control.
Interesting.
So that means Azorius is under control of a planeswalker. Orzhov is under control of a planeswalker. Niv is under control of a planeswalker. I just had the name of it. Simic's under control of a planeswalker. Golgari's under control of a planeswalker. But Golgari's yeah, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Can we not talk about Magic for 20 minutes? That would be great.
But like one final note about like all that story stuff. I'm like, wait, how the fuck did the Bolus not take control of the Rakdos shit? It's like, you think that'd be the first thing he would try to take control of, but I'm like, maybe they're too chaotic? Maybe that's why? It's
because Nicobolus can't deal with
he wants order, right?
He wants control, and Rakdos is
not control. Yeah, so that makes sense. Okay. Because I'm like, you think that'd be the first thing? Because it's like, that's just two colors. But I'm like, maybe not.
Yeah, that's the thing is, it's like, oh, I'm not ready for this bullshit. And yeah, you kind of just start like just not wanting to do with anything related to this stuff. And you're like, and as of now, it's just like, oh my god. Things are going fucking crazy.
Well, freaking all I know is that if they're gonna, have this big climactic battle and they're gonna just duke it out with their fists going and their magic dicks going, I'm like, I wonder if the Phyrexian plane is gonna just, oh man, we're just so full of black ooze, we're just gonna spill out now, and it's just gonna fuck everything else. And they're like, oh, we neglected that so much. Oh no. Oh no, I think Jeff is falling asleep.
It's okay, Josh, or Jeff.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I think we're pretty much done here in a moment, though.
Well,
yeah, I don't really think there's much else to talk about.
We could talk about how THQ is a bunch of fucking idiots.
Oh, they're fucking like 8chan interview thing.
Why would you do it on 8chan? Why?
Like it, yeah, it's very questionable.
Part is that like you have literally two sides of the same story, and both of them are equally like retarded. Because it's like
okay.
So just to know like our listeners know what the hell is going on with that. THQ they're pumping out another video game, and they're like, oh man, we gotta advertise this video game we're pumping out. Where should we, we should do like an AMA or whatever on like maybe Reddit or maybe even like some like forum somewhere of like answer questions with the fans. And then someone on the team was like, oh, I can handle that. I can do all of that. Don't worry about it. I got it.
We'll do it on 8chan.
And he put it on 8chan. Where people from 4chan thought they were too limited. So people in 8chan just share child porn all the time.
Allegedly. Allegedly is the right word.
Yeah.
So it's like,
guys, what the fuck? And you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? You know what? My stance on the issue is, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Just
the people who made the biggest stink about it are the people who always make the biggest stink about things.
I mean, if you're gonna do that thing, do it on 4chan, not 8chan.
Do it on the less chaotic system, not on the more chaotic system. But here's really my big issue with this is like, you do this stupid thing. You do it on 8chan. What did you expect to happen? And then you act surprised when it's like, oh, like the entire internet, and now we have to say it's sorry. It's like, no, like you don't, but what happened was really stupid and dumb. So that was my basic thing. It's like, man, like everything about this is stupid and dumb.
Yep. I'm just kind of just indifferent at this point because I don't care.
Yeah.
It could have been way worse. It could have been way worse. Mm-hmm. But like if they get investigated and they find out like nothing was wrong and stuff like that, who cares?
Yeah.
But I think I'm done for the night. I'm ready to call this podcast.
Okay, yeah. So thank you everyone for listening to the Black Mind Podcast, episode 189. Listen to us every Thursday on the blackmindgames.podbean.com. Thank you and have a good night.